Let's jump right into this. We're looking at a wildly tense excerpt from the ancient Mahabharata, specifically the Paloma Parva. We're talking about a super high-stakes confrontation that pits blinding, absolute vengeance right up against calm, cold, structured logic.
Honestly, this setup is the ultimate courtroom drama hook. On one side, you've got this individual pushed to the absolute edge by a crushing personal tragedy. He's operating 100% on raw emotion. On the flip side, we have an innocent creature whose literal survival depends on its ability to construct a flawless, logical defense in practically seconds. It's literally a life-or-death debate. Will pure rage win out, or can reasoning actually pierce through that dark cloud of vengeance? We start with the inciting incident, and man, just listen to the chilling totality of this vow. I would kill every snake that I might come across. Ruru, who is a Brahmana completely consumed by grief, leaves absolutely zero room for nuance here. No exceptions whatsoever. This is the textbook definition of blinding vengeance. He's decided that because one member of a group caused him unimaginable pain, the entire group has to be systematically eradicated. He's acting as judge, jury, and executioner for an entire species.
But, to truly grasp Ruru's wrath, we really have to understand that it comes directly from immeasurable love and devastating loss. He isn't acting out of random malice. The text specifically points out that his wife was dear to him as life. So when she was bitten by a snake, Ruru's entire world, his whole sense of meaning was shattered. It's exactly this kind of overwhelming, suffocating pain that causes the rational mind to just completely shut down, setting him on this path of unchecked destruction.
And let's be real, it is a terrifyingly easy mental trap to fall into when we're hurting. The snake he eventually corners, a Dundubha, specifically begs Ruru not to slay him under any misconception. And how is misconception defined here? It's making a blanket judgment that violently punishes the many for the actions of a few. Ruru is operating under the incredibly dangerous assumption that appearance equals guilt. If it looks like a snake, it must be responsible for his pain. So, let's look at how Ruru's dangerous assumption clashes with the Dundubha snake's desperate plea for a little bit of nuance. Ruru's dreadful vow is clear as day: smite them all, deprive them of life. But the Dundubha introduces a really vital piece of evidence. It argues that the snakes that bite humans are quite different in type, desperately trying to clarify that it's a serpent only in name. It's basically begging Ruru to look past the superficial label, stop categorizing, and actually observe the unique individual creature right in front of him.
What's so amazing here is how the snake methodically dismantles Ruru's blind rage using pure, undeniable logic. It presents this brilliant two-part defense to save its own life. First, it admits, it shares the calamities of other serpents. It crawls on the ground, faces the exact same predators, and carries the same physical stigma. But, and this is absolutely crucial, it argues that it does not share their good fortune, meaning, it doesn't have the dangerous power, the venom, the lethal defense mechanism that venomous snakes possess. It shares the heavy burden of being a snake, but none of the terrifying power.
And get this beautifully poetic line from the text. I mean, who knew a simple, non-venomous snake could be such a masterful defense attorney? In woe the same, but in joy different. It is such a profound statement on prejudice and generalization. The Dundubha suffers the exact same societal hatred and danger as venomous snakes, that's the woe, but it literally can't defend itself or strike back because it lacks the advantage of venom. Punishing it for the crimes of venomous snakes is fundamentally unjust. The snake is forcing Ruru to engage his intellect, not his anger.
Now notice how the text actually slows down here. It details the exact moment Ruru's critical thinking finally overrides his blind vengeance. It's this fascinating step-by-step de-escalation. First, Ruru actually hears the words. He truly listens. Second, he looks at the creature and observes that it is bewildered with fear. He realizes it's not a monster, it's a terrified victim. Third, his rationality clicks back online, and he correctly categorizes it as the harmless Dundubha species. And finally, the ultimate victory. He halts his strike and spares its life. Logic successfully breaks the dreadful vow.
Having snapped out of his blind rage, Ruru returns to his noble nature. The source text beautifully refers to Ruru here as the possessor of the 6 attributes, which basically signifies his return to his high moral and spiritual standing. He shifts instantly from this violent executioner to a compassionate protector, speaking with warmth and actually comforting the trembling snake. It's a remarkable showcase of how quickly human empathy can return once that blinding veil of misconception is finally lifted. Well, with the immediate danger past, the story pivots brilliantly from a philosophical courtroom drama right into a really compelling mystery. Ruru, now calm and curious, asks the snake, "Tell me fully, O snake, who art thou thus metamorphosed?" Because Ruru realizes something. The sophisticated logic and the incredibly compelling rhetorical arguments he just heard, those are not the natural traits of a common snake. He recognizes there is a much deeper identity hidden within this form.
And here is the shocking twist. The snake is actually a cursed human. Originally the noble Rishi Sahasrapat, he suffered a terrible tragedy when he was cursed by a Brahmana in a fit of sudden wrath. The consequence? He was forced into the form of a Dundubha snake. And that brings us right up to the present moment. The creature that just delivered an absolute masterclass in logic and justice is actually a wise rishi trapped in a frightening, scaly form.
It's wild, right? Just as Ruru almost murdered an innocent out of blind wrath, we learn Sahasrapat was also originally cursed by someone acting in wrath. This is where the source text reveals its brilliant thematic depth. When Ruru asks why Sahasrapat was cursed, we see a mirror reflecting directly back on Ruru. The wrath of a Brahmana caused Sahasrapat to become a snake, and the wrath of another Brahmana, Ruru himself, almost got him killed for it. It is an incredibly powerful, ironic warning about the cyclical, highly destructive nature of unchecked anger.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought. Ruru's story from the Adi Parva ends on a cliffhanger, with him asking the snake how long its curse will continue. But the real lesson? It's already been delivered. We've seen how grief creates vows of vengeance, how vengeance creates blind misconceptions, and how only empathy and active listening can break that cycle. So the next time you find yourself making a sweeping judgment in a moment of intense frustration, ask yourself, are you actually striking at the true source of your pain, or are you just targeting a Dundubha, a serpent only in name?